So, as an online coach or service provider, you are probably being told that you need to have a killer Instagram grid, a massive email list, a thriving blog, and a top rated podcast. Oh, and don't forget the YouTube channel. But have we seriously really thought about this strategically? Like, what is actually right for your business? And dare I say, are we just playing Simon Says with all of the little gurus out there on Instagram? So, today I want us to walk you through how to actually find your specific marketing sweet spot in under 5 minutes without all of these outside influences. I want us to get really specific and dialed in on your business without overcomplicating the process, of course. I want us to start macro and then get pretty micro to just your business. Now, I'm not saying you've wasted your time recently by trying these new strategies or following these other hacks, but what I think can happen is that we get too focused on optimizing before we've actually really decided, is this strategy right for me? And that's what I want us to focus on, because when you find a marketing strategy and the platforms and strategies that really work for you, you are going to realize and quickly find out how effortless it is to make the content and how much your leads and audience will love consuming that content. And those are the two key ingredients that I want to make sure that we find when it comes to your specific marketing plan. In today's video, I'm going to share my screen and I'm going to walk you through how exactly to find that marketing sweet spot for you in under 5 minutes. I'm then going to share with you a real example from one of our clients. I then also want to bring up two really important facts. First, I want to make sure that we talk about how many new marketing strategies and platforms should we be trying at once. And then, second, I want us to determine how to select that platform or strategy when we have multiple options on the table. All right, let's go. Marketing an online business specifically for service providers doesn't have a one size fits all magic formula that you can follow. Sorry to burst your bubble. I think too often we get caught up in trying to over optimize or hack our way through one platform. We haven't even thought about the bigger picture. One of the first steps in creating an omni-channel marketing strategy is deciding where to show up. So let's talk about how to determine your overarching strategy or platform. I like to call this center overlap area your sweet spot, your marketing sweet spot. And how we find it find it is actually pretty scary simple. First, determine how your audience loves to consume content. You can do this through target market observations or just asking them directly through polls. One of my favorite ways to ask them through polls is Instagram stories. Next, list out the ways you enjoy relaying information and strengths that you have. Maybe you are well spoken, or the written word is where you work best. Maybe you have a winning personality that goes over really well on video, or maybe you just interview very, very well. Now, when we take both into consideration, we can list out the types of platforms and strategies that are best suited for our audience and ways that they would love to hear, see, or read us on. So, time for a real life example. We have an amazing client. Her name is Vicky. She has truly mastered showing up authentically. And I don't say that lightly. And I'm not just blowing smoke up her, you know what. She truly has a gift and she has really found a primary platform that works extremely well for her. So I want to actually kind of take us through this without you actually first knowing what that platform is and seeing if you can maybe kind of figure it out just based on an honest review of Vicky. So let's look at this. When we look at this Venn diagram, we can see that Vicky's audience here really enjoys short form content. Okay, so anything that can have a little bit of humor infused. If you haven't met Vicky digitally, you know that she has a beautifully bold personality, and that's putting it subtly. And we know that just in general, her audience just enjoys being able to look at things in shorter or more medium lengths of content. Another thing is that her audience really appreciates a tight knit community, specifically any platform that allows for a potentially live or any sort of Q&A style. So they really love Q&A and they really do enjoy community. Finally, the third point, because I know we could go on, but we're going to just do 3 to 4, is that they really want a way to be able to listen back. So they want some sort of backlog or archive that allows them to, if they can't do something live, directly with Vicky, they want to be able to go back. So these are a couple things that Vicky's audience really prioritizes. Now, when it comes to Vicky, she's got a lot of strengths. Okay. So some of the top ones is that she can speak very succinctly with a lot of confidence and break down really complicated ideas into basic steps. So we're going to say speaking, or just in general, honestly, communicating. She's a great communicator. She can take, like I said, these really complicated concepts and she can boil them down in manageable bite-sized ways. And I thought, honestly, I think one of the most impressive things about Vicky as a communicator is that she can do this on a clock, right? So she can do this pretty quickly. And so another thing about Vicky is that she does really well on camera. So she's not super stiff or uncomfortable when she's filming, and she really draws you in as if you're FaceTiming with an old friend. Finally, Vicky has another kind of secret weapon, and that is her sense of humor. She has a honestly a seamless way of being able to do pop culture spin-offs and easily riff due to her inner kind of Mrs. Maisel. So we're gonna just list humor here and just kind of in general personality. So when we're looking at this, we already can start to gain a few ideas, but arguably the top contender is, that's right, Instagram, a community building app that feeds off of pop culture, trending audio, and short form content. And best yet, there is a way that you can kind of have that backlog or archive, so to speak, due to the fact that you can have an entire grid. So, Instagram is an amazing contender for Vicky. And surprise, surprise, this is in fact the platform that she does extremely well on. So, another great option for Vicky would be a podcast. So, we could potentially look at podcasting for her and even potentially a YouTube if we wanted to either combine the two or keep them separate. But either way, given that she would potentially do well with the slightly longer form platform or way of doling out content, then something like a podcast or YouTube that tends to be more medium to long form style would be a great place to explore. Given her personality and how well she does with people, even doing in person or any sort of webinar masterclass, anything that we can kind of lean a little bit more into the specifically the live element would also be a fantastic option for her. Now, I'm not here to give away all of Vicky's marketing plan, but what I can tell you is that she rocks it on Instagram, and it's no real surprise when we break it down like this. Instagram is a platform that allows Vicky to lean into her personal strengths. Now you might be wondering, okay, Lizzy, which one do I do? I have a lot of different options available to me, and they all seem pretty good. So, when it comes to narrowing down the field, I want us to first think about budget. Okay, so which one is going to literally have the lowest startup cost possible? Because we have to think about outsourcing, we have to think about editing, applications, or programs that we might need. Which one can you get maybe scrappy or down and dirty with and just instantly get started with? The other thing I want you to think about is which one do you feel most inspired by? If you were to sit down right now after this and come up with 50 plus ideas for one of these platforms, I think that's a very good indicator that you feel inspired and that you feel like you could be churning out consistent, keyword, content on this particular platform or using this particular strategy. And I think that's a very good idea if the alternative is that this other strategy, which also might have a good case for you being on it or using it, if you're kind of sitting there and it's just crickets and you're like, I'm just not sure. All in all, when we are looking at implementing new strategies, I want us to make sure we're following that KISS system. Keep it stupid simple. Okay. I want to make sure that we're not implementing too many things at once because there's already going to be a lot of trial and error in this process. That's just part of the marketing game. And I want to make sure that we don't overcomplicate it, make ourselves really stressed out when we're having to track all these metrics, A B test things. Honestly, at this point, for even the most advanced marketing strategists who have the biggest teams, sometimes a max of two things at once that are new for the business is plenty. Honestly, for those of you who maybe this is a newer process, just pick one. And that's totally okay. Get really good at that or start producing content consistently and then quickly decide the metrics, the audience, they're all telling me that this isn't the right one. So let's cut. cut this cord and move on to the next idea. Because remember, from this list, you will absolutely have multiple platforms or strategies that you can kind of implement. Remember, we're kind of whittling it down and going to run with just one, maybe two. So you have other options you can absolutely circle around to. Or if those other ones end up working really well, and maybe in a quarter or two, you're churning out content like clockwork, the community is engaged, your leads are coming in, maybe think about starting to layer in one of the new ones. If you really love the little cheat sheet that I was using on my screen, don't worry, you can get that here in this email. You can download it right below and you can use that at your disposal. And honestly, I'd love to see you taking a little screenshot and sharing it on Instagram stories so I can see everyone using it. But in the meantime, if you have any questions like normal, go ahead and hit reply.